Hello and a very warm welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with news tonight. Let's begin as always with the top stories. Under fire over the Gujarat Ghar Wapsi conversions, RSS chief puts the onus on the opposition to support an anti-religious conversion bill. Former Union Minister D. Imphal joins the BJP, claims he was being sidelined in the DMK. Amit Shah's plans to build the party in Tamil Nadu gets a boost. Pakistan executes 4 more death row convicts as its army continues crackdown on terrorist-infested areas bordering Afghanistan. And North India shivers as fog throws rail and air schedules into chaos. Delhi records its coldest night this season. Amid uproar in Parliament over the conversion row, RSS has demanded a strong anti-conversion law. The RSS chief's remark assumes significance in the context of Sangh Parivar outfits carrying out Ghar Wapsi program in parts of North India. It has sparked fresh outrage among political parties on the issue. However, the BJP has distanced itself from the row and has put the onus on the opposition for an anti-conversion law.
A day after BJP distanced itself from the controversial religious conversions in some parts of the country, RSS came out in strong defense of what it calls Ghar Wapsi or homecoming. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat said that the centre should bring a law to ban forceful conversions.
पसंद नहीं तो कानून करो, कहा है संसद ने कानून करो, करने के लिए तैयार नहीं तो क्या करेंगे? हमको किसी को बदलना नहीं है, हिंदू किसी के बदलने पर ऐसा विश्वास नहीं करता। हिंदू कहता है परिवर्तन अंदर से होता है, लेकिन हिंदू को परिवर्तन नहीं करना है तो हिंदू का भी परिवर्तन नहीं करना चाहिए। इस पर हिंदू आज अड़ा है।
On Saturday, the VHP reportedly converted around 200 Christian tribals in Gujarat's Valsad. This is the second major report of conversion after 57 Muslim families were converted in Agra earlier this month. RSS chief's stand and the organization's ongoing Ghar Wapsi program sparked fresh criticism from opposition parties.
Every statement and action of the RSS and its organizations has serious implications for this country, and that is why the Prime Minister has a responsibility to this country to speak out against these totally unconstitutional statements and steps.
अगर कोई अपनी मर्जी से करता है तो बिल्कुल ठीक है। आरएसएस के चीफ बोल रहे हैं कि सारे देश को हिंदू बना देंगे, उसके बारे में वेंकैया क्या बोलेंगे? उनके खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई करेंगे? इस तरीके से देश को बर्बाद करने की एक साजिश है।
The opposition ire comes after a week-long uproar in Parliament over the controversial issue. Both houses saw frequent disruptions over demands of a statement by the Prime Minister. So far, the PM has maintained silence, barring reported warnings to MPs to refrain from controversial statements. Ruling BJP, however, has called for legislation against forceful conversions.
हमारे विपक्षी जिस तरह का हंगामा कर रहे हैं, वो चाहते हैं कि धर्म परिवर्तन जबरन लालच से न हो, तो जो सरकार कानून बनाना चाहती है तो उनको पहल करनी चाहिए।
Monday will see the penultimate sitting of the ongoing winter session. With deadlock remaining between the government and the opposition on the issue, there could be fresh uproar in Parliament on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And despite the logjam in Parliament, the government is confident to bring some of the key reform bills in the ongoing session. Despite opposition protests over the conversion row, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu expressed confidence that at least the insurance bill would be taken up in the remaining 2 days of this session. The insurance bill could not be taken up in Rajya Sabha due to disruptions, even though it was listed on 4 days last week. Among the key bills that remain pending are the insurance bill and the coal bill. The government managed to table the GST bill in Lok Sabha on Friday, but it will not be taken up before the next session. The government is all set to end the session empty-handed, with none of its big-ticket reforms agenda getting a nod in either of the houses.
We request the parliament, the opposition parties in Rajya Sabha to please understand the spirit of parliamentary democracy. I only appeal to the opposition parties, please at least these 2 days allow the Parliament Rajya Sabha to function.
And now news of the Tamil Nadu BJP roping in a key DMK leader. Former Union Minister and long-time DMK leader D. Napoleon joined the BJP today in the presence of party chief Amit Shah, who's visiting the state right now. The move is seen as a big fillip as the BJP targets a larger presence in the state ahead of assembly elections in 2016.
Party President Amit Shah with the newest entrant to the BJP. Former Union Minister D. Napoleon's coming on board is quite a coup. The former UPA minister had quit the DMK on Saturday, accusing the party of sidelining him.
இந்திய அளவுல சோசியல் ஜஸ்டிஸ் எம்பவர்மென்ட்க்கு MOS கொடுத்தாங்க. ஆனா வாழை இலை போட்டு அறுசுவை உணவை வச்சிட்டு கையை கட்டி போட்டாங்க.
Napoleon is a close loyalist of out-of-favor DMK leader Alagiri, a supposed reason for his being pushed to the sidelines in the party. The DMK, however, terms Napoleon's moving out mere opportunism on his part. The DMK's loss is the BJP's gain. Napoleon's move comes at a time when the BJP is focusing big on Tamil Nadu to emerge as a third alternative to the DMK and AIADMK, looking to strike at a time when both parties are under the corruption scanner.
अभी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का मेंबरशिप ड्राइव चल रहा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अपने मेंबरशिप ड्राइव में 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा मेंबर बनाने का लक्ष्यांक रखा है। इस बार मेंबरशिप ड्राइव ऑनलाइन हो रही है और तमिलनाडु में भी हमने 60 लाख से ज्यादा मेंबर बनाने का लक्ष्यांक रखा है।
The BJP president is on a 2-day visit to Tamil Nadu and his mission to strengthen the party base in the state is clear. Ahead of assembly elections due in 2016, Tamil Nadu is to be Amit Shah's next focus state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, the son of Congress Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh joined the BJP's UP unit today along with his supporters. Anant Vikram Singh has a strained relationship with his father, who is currently a Rajya Sabha Congress MP from Assam. Anant was welcomed to the BJP fold in Lucknow in the presence of State Party President Lakshmikant Bajpai. Bajpai exhorted new entrants to strengthen the party's roots in Uttar Pradesh.
भाजपा में ज्वाइनिंग है आज हमारी और इसकी अनुमति दिल्ली से मिली है हमको और आज की तारीख और समय दिया गया तो आज हम सब लोग पहुंचे हैं। पिछले इतने सालों से जो डेवलपमेंट और विकास जिसके हम सक्षम थे वो हुआ नहीं और अब चैलेंजिंग टास्क तो है लेकिन मेहनत जरूर लगेगी और हम लोग पूरी तरह से मिल के करेंगे सब लोग।
And in another big news of the day, India has reacted strongly to a UN letter that refers to 26/11 Mumbai terror attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed as Sahab. Officials say the government is perturbed over the UN Security Panel's reference to Saeed, who is a designated global terrorist. India is set to seek a clarification from the United Nations on Monday. The reference to Saeed was made by Gary Killam, the chair of UN Security Council Committee, in a letter dated 17th of December. The letter was to communicate information regarding banned terror organization Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hafiz Saeed. Political leaders have condemned the UN stance on Hafiz Saeed.
यूएनओ ने ही उनको टेररिस्ट डिक्लेयर किया है, उसकी संस्था को टेररिस्ट संस्था डिक्लेयर किया है, उनके ऊपर इनाम भी घोषित किया है यूएनओ ने, तो यूएनओ उनको कोई सम्मान नहीं दे सकता।
And in news from Pakistan now, 4 more Pakistani terror convicts on death row were executed at a jail in Faisalabad today. The execution comes 2 days after 2 convicts were executed in an apparent crackdown on terror in Pakistan. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had lifted a moratorium on death penalty after Taliban killed over 100 children in an attack in Peshawar last week. Security forces have also arrested over 300 terror suspects so far.
Pakistan continues to hunt down and execute militants. On Sunday, 4 more terrorists were executed at a jail in Faisalabad. They were convicted for the attack on former President Pervez Musharraf. This is the second execution in 3 days. Earlier on Friday, 2 convicted terrorists were executed in the same jail.
97 कैदी सजाए मौत की है। इनमें से तो आपने मेरे ख्याल में पहले भी जिक्र किया गया। ये 41 सुप्रीम कोर्ट में अपील है उसका, 41 का हाई कोर्ट में और 14 मर्सिफिकेशन में सदर के पास रैम की अपील है। जब ये रैम का अपील सदर से मुस्तरद हो गया तो इंशाल्लाह इस पर फांसी का अमल दरामद होगा।
Over 300 suspects were also arrested in Islamabad on Saturday. 6 teams of armed personnel carriers, bomb disposal squads and commandos participated in the combing operations on Saturday. Pak Army also reported that at least 5 militants were killed in a drone strike in North Waziristan region on Saturday.
Pakistan is moving decisively against terrorism, and we hope that good results will be achieved.
Meanwhile, relatives of Peshawar school attack victims demanded severe punishments for the militants. Back in India, school kids pledged their solidarity for the victims. Calling for immediate action, Indian school children wrote letters to Pak Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Pakistan has also assured India of challenging the bail of Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi, a key mastermind of the 26/11 attacks. Pak NSA Sartaj Aziz said that the government's effort to challenge the bail order in favour of Lakhvi is being firmed up. Lakhvi was granted bail last week, a day after the gruesome Taliban attack in Peshawar. However, he has been kept in detention for at least 3 more months in another case. Pakistan has assured that by the time Lakhvi's detention period ends, the trial on 26/11 case will gain speed to indict the perpetrators. Led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India had reacted strongly to Lakhvi's bail on Friday, urging Pakistan to prevent his release.
मेरा ख्याल है इस पे जो खबरें आई हैं वो तो बहुत क्लियर है। मेंटेनेंस पब्लिक ऑर्डर के थ्रू उसको दोबारा गिरफ्तार किया गया ताकि रिहाई ना हो, और मेरा ख्याल है कि उसमें अपील भी की जा रही है अगेंस्ट द बेल, क्योंकि ये एमपीओ तो बहुत लिमिटेड पीरियड का होता है और हमारी तरफ से जो बॉम्बे का ट्रायल है वो काफ़ी स्पीड से चल रहा है।
That was a judicial order, and immediately after that the government moved very swiftly and put him under house arrest, and the government also plans to challenge the bail order.
Well, time now for a short break on News Tonight. But when we return, more snow in the hills. The northern plain braces for more cold next week. Details after this very short break. Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has summoned Punjab's Revenue Minister Bikram Singh Majithia in the 6,000 crore rupees international synthetic drug case. He's been asked to appear before the ED office in Jalandhar on the 26th of December. He's likely to be grilled for his alleged links with some of the accused and alleged relations with 3 NRIs suspected to have been actively involved in the racket. Majithia is also the younger brother of Union Minister Harsimrat Kaur Badal. Amid the opposition's criticism and demand for Majithia's resignation, Punjab Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal has come out in defence of his minister.
In this drug trade, there are 3 people, there are 3 sitting ministers in Sir Prakash Singh Badal's government who are the kingpins. A very serious charge has been made on a very close relative of yours, a sitting minister with you. So, more so, it is important that you have an agency probing this, which is not a state agency.
Majithia's involvement in this drug racket has been going on and known publicly since a long time. Now, after a lot of public pressure, now the ED has summoned him. Till now, even ED was dragging its feet. It's a very, very serious case. First of all, the Minister Majithia should resign from the ministry.
समन्ता करना मतलब नहीं कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन लेनी ये नहीं कि वो मुजरम बन गया.
Well, the entire northern India continues to shiver under intense cold wave. Mercury levels have dipped below the freezing point at many places in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Delhi also witnessed a sharp fall in minimum temperatures, Sunday being the coldest this season at 6.4 degrees Celsius. With prediction of more snowfall, the cold situation is likely to worsen.
Severe cold wave conditions and dense fog have hit normal life in most parts of northern India. Residents of Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are grappling with the biting cold as mercury dropped to near freezing point on Sunday. Churu in Rajasthan recorded a minimum temperature of 0.5 degrees Celsius, while Narnaul in Punjab remained the coldest place in the state with a low of 1.6 degrees Celsius. In Haryana, Hisar settled at a low of 1.8 degrees Celsius, while national capital Delhi shivered at 6.4 degrees Celsius, making it the coldest day this season.
ठंड में सवारी मिलना मुश्किल हो गया है, रोजी रोटी चलाना मुश्किल हो गया है।
ਅਸੀਂ 12-12 ਘੰਟੇ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਕਰਨ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੋਣੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ।
Thick fog and mist have disrupted traffic movement in most parts of northern India. Low visibility due to dense fog led to an accident in Kadura area of Uttar Pradesh in which 8 people are reported to have been killed. Several flights and trains have been cancelled due to the foggy weather. Many trains are running behind schedule.
धुंध इतनी ज्यादा है कि गाड़ियों का चलना ही मुश्किल है, आवागमन में बहुत परेशानियां हो रही हैं।
In Jammu and Kashmir, the Chilai Kalan, which is the 40-day period of harshest winter, began on Sunday. This is the period when even the day temperatures drop drastically, freezing most of the water bodies, including the famous Dal Lake. The Met Office has predicted widespread rains or isolated snowfall in Jammu and Kashmir over the next 24 hours.
आज यहाँ पे जुलाई क्लास स्टार्ट हुआ है। ऊपर आप देख सकते हैं सेकंड फेज पे बहुत बर्फबारी हुई है, फर्स्ट फेज पे भी बहुत बर्फबारी हुई है।
आमतौर पे देखी गई है कि बर्फबारी भी होती है इस टाइम पे, बारिश अक्सर होती है और धुंध तो रहती है, फॉग काफी रहती है इस टाइम में।
According to Met Department, the winter chill will intensify in the coming days across North India, with the day temperatures also dropping to new lows. Fresh snowfall in the hilly regions will add to the extreme cold conditions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And for more national stories, let's take you nationwide. Six political parties of the erstwhile Janata Parivar will share a common platform tomorrow to protest against the Narendra Modi government. The protests, organised to expose BJP government's failures, would also be the first solid step towards the merger of these six parties. Lalu Prasad's RJD, Nitish Kumar's JDU and Dushyant Chautala's INLD are among the parties which will try to corner the government on various issues, including its failure to fulfill election promises. 3 people were killed and 4 others seriously injured in a powerful IED blast in Imphal today. The blast took place this morning at a roadside tea shop. The 4 injured have been admitted to the RIMS hospital, where the condition of one of them is stated to be critical. Chief Minister Ibobi Singh and Deputy Chief Minister Gai Khanam have condemned the incident and ordered strict action against the culprits. The CAG has pulled up Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for the 14-year delay in developing the intermediate jet trainer. The CAG said there were many accidents in which pilots lost their lives. All these accidents have occurred because of technical defects and human error. The report claims the cause of such incidents is IAF's failure to train its pilots properly due to lack of trainers. More than 1/4 of officially tested milk samples in India in this year were found adulterated. With a rising number of adulteration cases in the courts, the government has decided on concrete steps to make current food safety laws more stringent. A task force has begun investigations and a report is due in January. Here's a report.
The government sees it as a dangerously rising phenomenon. A member of parliament termed food adulteration a crime against humanity that needed urgent preventive checks. And the Union Health Ministry suggests a possible revamp and strengthening of food safety laws to ensure corrections. In a written response to a question in Parliament, Nadda said, and I quote, "We propose to comprehensively review the Food Safety and Standards Act, rules and regulations to address the concerns of courts and matters relating to food adulteration and the numerous representations received from food business operators." The minister admitted to food adulteration being behind the rising burden of non-communicable diseases across the country, as he gave out figures on the criminal depth of the problem. Out of 72,200 food samples analysed in 2013 and 14, 13,571 were adulterated, resulting in launch of 10,325 civil and criminal cases, the minister stated. This amounts to an alarming 87.3% food consumed by Indians being contaminated in various degrees. 432 prosecutors had been brought under adulterers, of which 122 were convicted. The Ministry of Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI, has worked out an elaborate strategy to assess the depth of the menace and came out with the policy interventions to curb adulteration and contamination.
Present Act of Food Safety and Standards Authority 2006 has three major problems. One, that the language of the whole act is not very scientific in nature. The second issue is that research findings or research evidence backing is not there for most of the facts. And third, it's very difficult for comprehension by general public.
MPs termed adulteration as well unregulated use of pesticides and antibiotics a slow poison that eats continuously at society.
It is more to do with how the states implement it, what kind of workforce, what kind of monitoring, what kind of random sampling is done, how stringent is the punishment as a deterrent. All these things are more important.
The new laws will also cover imported food items. The suggestions made by the task force will be in the public domain to invite comments. Anshu J. Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for another short break here, but when we return, 2 New York cops killed in ambush in an apparent revenge attack. Details after this short break. Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight. In another big international news of the day, a gunman shot 2 New York police officers on patrol in Brooklyn late on Saturday. The killing is seen as a possible revenge attack after the gunman posted online messages claiming to avenge Eric Garner's death. US President Barack Obama strongly criticized the killing.
The US flag flies half-mast in the police station building after a gunman ambushed and fatally shot 2 New York police city officers on point blank in Brooklyn. Later, the gunman shot himself.
Officer Ramos was in the driver's seat, and Officer Liu was in the front passenger seat beside him. According to witness statements, the suspect, who has been identified as 28-year-old Ismail Brinsley, walked up to the police car. He took a shooting stance on the passenger side and fired his weapon several times.
Hinting at simmering tensions over the recent police atrocities in the US, the gunman had posted several anti-police messages online. The gunman, identified as Ismail Brinsley, wanted to avenge the death of Eric Garner, who was shot by 2 New York City police officers. Officials said that shortly before the double shooting, a message on an Instagram account apparently belonging to gunman Brinsley said, "They take 1 of ours, let's take 2 of theirs." In a statement issued by the White House, US President Barack Obama strongly condemned the incident.
We are still learning the details. It's clear that this was an assassination. That these officers were shot execution style. Particularly despicable act, which goes at the very heart of our society.
The killing comes days after protests gripped US over alleged cop brutality. Earlier this month, the court decided not to indict a US cop who killed Michael Brown, an unarmed black teen from Ferguson. Brown and Garner's death and court's order in favor of the cops triggered nationwide protests. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And for all the other international stories, let's take a look at the global buzz. Cuban President Raul Castro has asked the US to respect Cuba's communist ideology as the two countries go about efforts to normalize diplomatic ties. In a televised speech in Cuban capital Havana, Castro thanked US President Barack Obama for a new chapter in US-Cuba ties, but reaffirmed that this did not mean the end of communist rule in Cuba. Tunisians voted today in a presidential runoff election to choose their first freely elected president. The elections are seen as a landmark move towards the country's democratic transition. The leader of secular-leaning party, Beji Caid Essebsi, is challenging interim leader Monsef Marzouki. Essebsi won the first round of elections with 39% of the vote. The Pentagon says 4 Afghan prisoners in Guantanamo Bay have been sent back to their homes. The 4 were reported to have been deported after a review of their cases. US President Barack Obama has pledged to close the prison facility. The US had set up Guantanamo Bay in 2002 to hold enemy combatants. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon has pledged the body's full support in efforts to combat Ebola in West Africa. Ban is on a 3-day trip to Ebola-affected areas in the region. He cautioned, however, that a great deal remains to be done to wipe out the disease completely. Well, time now for all the sporting action in Sports Beat. Fast bowler Ishant Sharma has been fined 15% of his match fees for breaching the ICC's code of conduct during the second cricket test between India and Australia. Sharma was fined for using what has been called inappropriate language after dismissing Smith during Australia's first innings on the third day at the Gabba. Media reports say the 26-year-old admitted to the offence and accepted the punishment. Former world heavyweight champion boxer Muhammad Ali is in hospital with pneumonia. He was admitted on Saturday and is said to be out of danger. Medical reports say it's a mild attack and Ali is expected to be discharged soon. Ali's health has steadily deteriorated since his retirement from professional boxing in 1981. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1984. Real Madrid claimed their maiden Club World Cup title, beating South American champion San Lorenzo 2-0 in Morocco on Saturday. Sergio Ramos and Gareth Bale scored for Real. Bale has also earned an extraordinary hat-trick of final match goals this year, having scored in the European Cup and Spanish Cup finals. This was Real's 22nd consecutive win in all competitions. And that's all in news tonight. Today we'll catch you same time tomorrow. Good night. Thanks for your time.